So does non-duality lead to a peaceful person? In some regards, yes, and in some regards, no. So in some regards, like when you're like really lost in the matrix and lost in the dream and really believe that everything's real, then it tends to produce like a lot of compulsive thinking and a lot of negative thinking as well. And the reason it produces negative thinking is because our minds are designed to work out problems and to understand problems. So you and your life become a problem. Because the more you encourage that thinking mind, the more that it looks at things and thinks, this is a problem, I've got to fix it. And as you begin to see that all of that's not real and that's not truth, then I think it settles the body-mind mechanism down, and it stops the mind thinking as much as it does, or as much as it did. And it also, in this spiritual path, you tend to get to know yourself better. So you get to know what your limits are, what your boundaries are, what you want, what you don't want. Sorry, just my mum. So it does tend to make the person more peaceful. So it becomes a lot more simpler, or in my experience, it becomes a lot more simpler. So your motivations, your body, and what you feel and what you want is more obvious and more apparent. So that makes communication with others easier. But that's an effect that isn't fixed. So it's an effect that happens in the person, but it's not what non-duality is about. And it's not the case in all people. Like say if you have awakening when you're a lot older, then maybe it's your personality structure is more ingrained and more tough and more hard, and you have more of a sense of a person on the human level, and it comes up more in conflict with life. But overall, yeah, for sure, I would say that non-duality makes you more peaceful, but not perfect. Maybe it does some people. I was watching a video of someone speak this morning, and they were talking about how in very many years they've never had any discomfort, and I can't say if that's true or not, but that's not the case here. I get discomfort. Just now when my mum kept coming in and out of the hallway, I found it a little uncomfortable because I can't keep the door shut because it keeps blowing in the wind, like it's rattling. I could have maybe tried to stuff something under the door to stop it, but I didn't think of that. So in my body, in that moment when my mum was coming in and out, there was a little bit of discomfort in my throat, more than likely because it was wanting to express to her, look, I'm doing a session. And then there was another part of like holding that back, like not expressing that because it wasn't appropriate to express it to her. It's hard because it was like it with my dad as well. They really can't grasp the concept that I work on the internet. They can't grasp that. My dad, when he was alive as well, my dad was better. Like they know it, but they also can't grasp it. So I can tell them a million times, and they still can't really get it, that there's people in there watching. So there was a little bit of that, like this energy that wanted to say something, but another energy that knew that she was trying her best and she'd be gone in a moment. And maybe a little bit of embarrassment as well, that like there's like 100 people, and most probably like 2,000 people that are going to watch this, and they can hear my mum talking to the dogs. Like, not embarrassment that she's talking to them, but like just embarrassment more for me. Like, I'm trying to give this serious talk about non-duality, and then my mum's hovering in the background. It reminds me a bit of the comedy, I don't know if you've seen it, called called The Big Bang Theory. I've just been watching this on Netflix. I've been really enjoying it, and it reminds me of Howard and his mum. Like, the one that I watched the other night was when he was on Skype to NASA, and his mum kept calling up, "Your breakfast is ready. Your Fruit Loops are waiting for you." And he's like, "Fine, I'll get in a minute. But you got Fruit Loops." And in the end, they end up giving him the nickname Fruit Loops. Yeah. And to me, I feel like I will always have feelings. There's never going to be a time when I don't have feelings in the human body. And if I had a choice between if I felt or if I didn't, I think I would choose to feel. Even those uncomfortable feelings of my mom, I think I would choose to feel it. I don't think I would choose to constantly have pleasure. Just let me check in with that feeling. See if I'm being honest or if I'm telling myself a porky pie. Porky pie. It's not even that I would want to feel it or not want to feel it. It's just a deep knowing that that's how I navigate this world, is through my feeling body. And it's just part of this. Like, it's not even about a want or desire to have it or to not have it. It's that it helps me navigate. And if I didn't have painful feelings, then I would mostly do loads of like unethical things and not very nice things if I just constantly had pleasurable feelings. It's not even rational like that. It's just the way this instrument's set up, is that when you feel pain. So if my mum kept doing that, like kept speaking in my sessions, we'd have to have the conversation again, which has happened a little bit lately. So we maybe have to have the conversation again about what I do. And then that puts up the boundary. And yeah, and I don't always get it right. Like, I don't always get the boundaries right with people. It's not like my body always seems to know exactly the right boundaries, but then the thinking mind gets involved and confuses it. Or the thinking mind or the body doesn't act. It knows the boundary, but it doesn't act. So what is the freedom then, if it's not personal? Like, it does have an effect, so there is an effect in the body-mind, and what you think when you're seeking for this subject is you think that's what you want healed. You want the pleasure and pain. You want to no longer have painful experience. You want only pleasure, and you want to get rid of any negative thinking or any difficulties or complexities, and you just want pleasure. But actually it's not what you want. What you want is this deep rest of who you are, which is beyond that. It's knowing who you are in every moment. So who are you? And in a way, like like when I speak about this subject, I always feel like I could end up just not speaking because everything you say isn't quite right. Like, I even feel sad because I can see how just in saying what you want is the freedom of who you are. It's selling you another goodie that's like, oh wow, yes, what I truly am. I'm going to make it to this place one day of who I truly am. And it's actually not even about that person making it to who they truly are. It's about this moment. It's about what's actually happening. It's not about you achieving or you getting something or you arriving somewhere. But that is all you look for, is the end of seeking. It's not actually an activity that you get. It's just a surrendering back into what you are right now. But maybe that's not what you actually want. What you want is, you want something for you. You want pleasure. You want to know how to deal with your dysfunction better. You want to know how to deal with a nagging thought or how to relax yourself, which we can talk about later on in the talk, but this is about something that's prior to that, something that's beyond you. It's so incomprehensible to the mind. But just notice that there is this mind thinking, there's this body feeling, there is sensations happening, and there's something that's experiencing all of that, that isn't separate from it. And you could call this love. It knows itself. Like life knows itself. What we think on the human level, what most people think, is that they know themselves. They as the person, they as this thought structure know themselves. But actually there is this person that appears with feelings and thoughts, but there's something that knows that. You, who you think yourself to be, is not alive. Who you think yourself to be is lots of thoughts and feelings and impulses arriving in this, here, right now. In this massive infinite space. And that person is always telling stories of who it is. And it's always trying to erect who it is and put a flag in and stand by and be like, me! All the time. Everything is about you and how it affects you and how you feel. What you want. Yeah, bop, 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 bop. You, you. And then that appears in something that isn't separate. So the assumption is that the seeing and the seen are separate, that the hearing and the heard are separate, the hearing and the sound are separate, that the feeling and the felt are separate. Whereas actually it's one energy experiencing itself that's free. And this is love. It's like walking around inside yourself. It's not walking in relationship to something. That's what the mind is always telling you. That's what the thoughts are always telling you. I'm something inside here and I'm in relationship to another outside there. But actually, there isn't something, a subject in relationship to an object. There is one energy experiencing itself. So everything you see and feel and experience is you, but not you as the personality structure, you as that big you. It's so close and it's so intimate. And it's creator of all. Your essence is the creator of all. But maybe I go to questions now.